All right. Before we do anything, can we all just stand up and take a nice yawn stretch? And I just want to make sure the feedback. Go ahead. Make the ugly face too with it. Just go. Feels good, don't it? Feels good. You can all sit down. I was told if it was a good idea, aeronautics engineer from the Air Force, he says to me, if it's a good idea, nature would have already beaten us to it. So hold that thought for a moment. Go ahead and roll these things up. They're pretty durable. Go ahead, roll it up, roll it up, roll it up, roll it up, roll it up. Take your pamphlet, roll it up. This is a partner exercise. I want you to find one person next to you, and I want you to gently, so you're gonna take turns. So one person's gonna go first. Right hand delivered to the left hand, you dig? And I want you to pass it. Just hold it though. So, yeah. No, not yet. Hold on. Let's just. We are in school and we're gonna give instructions piece by piece. Here we go. Step 1, roll up the pamphlet. Step 2, find a partner. Step 3, decide who's gonna go first. Take 2 seconds. Who's going first? 3, 2, 1. Great. The person who's going first, I want you to just extend your hand. The other person who's receiving, don't take it. Just hold it. The metaphor for today was passing the baton. In the Olympics, hold on, hold it. In the Olympics, the way that you know you can let this go is when you feel the other person pulling it from your hand. So your partner, I want you to only let go when you feel your partner pulling it from your hand. There you go. Now that you've had this experience, switch roles. I want your partner to feel the same thing. So you wrap it up, put it into their hand, and only let it go when you feel them pulling it away from you. All right. If it's a good idea, nature would have already beaten us to it. When trees are on fire, through the ground, their roots will pass nutrients to the trees that are still alive way downfield. If it's a good idea, nature would have already beaten us to it. So we've learned how to code. Code comes from the word codex. Codex means root. Do we all remember when we had to type in MS-DOS mode? C, open program. Yes? We all had to know how to code. If it's a good idea, nature would have already beaten us to it. We're talking about arts and science. Families with children who want to prove that they know how to code. So they would rather figure that out on their own. So we all chose to be entrepreneurs. Entrepreneur etymologically just means a director. So we all chose to be the directors of our own lives, to find our own direction, our own sense of flow. If it's a good idea, nature would have probably already beaten us to it. So in the Amazon, we have our Kindles and our Fire sticks. And the Amazon is on fire right now. And we're trying to preserve a code. But what code are we trying to preserve? If it's a good idea, nature would have already beaten us to it. Trust, bonds, value, and appreciation, those create a sense of safety so that we can transact. Trust, bonds, values, and appreciation, those create circles of safety so that we can transact. Are we talking about banking? Are we talking about families? The Amazon is on fire. If it's a good idea, nature would have probably already beaten us to it. You see, the idea of yawn stretching actually cools the brain because it overheats. Because guess what? Because when you become a teen, this is nature's disruptive technology. There was the old system, and guess what? We're the new system now, and this is how it's gonna go. But that's the way it's always gone. It is the evolution of growing. If it's a good idea, nature would have already beaten us to it. Anybody ever watch a butterfly come out of a cocoon? It sucks. They're like, boom, boom, bang. But all of that stress on their wings allows them to fly. So sometimes, even as parents, we want to have control over our children's lives, but we got to let them go and be to fly. If it's a good idea, nature would have probably already beaten us to it. The trees are on fire. We all came here today because we're all part of some family tree, all with their own stories, all with one day or another where something caught fire. But the goal was never for us to keep. It was to send our nutrients and our code through the roots. If it's a good idea, nature would have already beaten us to it. So if there's anything you leave with here today, when you feel like the tree is on fire and you need to cool it down, just take a yawn, take a stretch, reach, pass the baton, and let it go. Thank you.